Now let's get a look at weather with our own Market Journal meteorologist, Eric Hunt. Eric, we've seen some beneficial moisture fall across portions of the state this week. Are we in for more rain as we turn to the week ahead?
Well, thanks, Bryce. The answer to that question is yes. Matter of fact, by the time you're watching this on Saturday morning, we should hopefully have precipitation across a good majority of the state. Best precipitation amounts are likely to be across portions of southwestern Nebraska around McCook, where we could have 1.5 inches. But a good portion of the state has a really good chance, I think, of picking up at least 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. A bit less as you get to the northwest and northeast quarters of the state. After this storm clears out on Sunday, we should see a return to some sunshine and milder temperatures, particularly as we get into the eastern 2/3 of the state. Most everybody, though, Monday, Tuesday should see highs in the upper 50s to low 60s. Pretty nice days for this time of year. But by the time we get to Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, we are going to see a weak little shortwave move in the northern plains. We'll have a little bit of moisture to work with, and that will help bring some chances of precipitation for at least a good portion of the state. Better chances you go further east, with the highest precipitation bounce right now expected to be across portions of southeastern Nebraska and as we move east into Iowa and into Illinois. By later this next weekend, though, we could be looking at a more potent system moving into the western United States. Now, there's not exactly really good model consensus on exactly how this is going to evolve, and certainly there's disagreements on timing. But suffice to say that we could be looking at additional precipitation across this region as we head into this next weekend. Ahead of that, though, we should remain relatively mild. So again, as we head toward later portions next week, we should see temperatures predominantly in the 50s and 60s, maybe a little bit cooler as you go toward the west, especially at night. Temperatures probably will be below freezing overnight in the Panhandle, but still looking to be mostly above freezing elsewhere. But the CPC is also showing, that signal for precipitation. So this is a pretty strong signal for above average precipitation. So they are picking up on us definitely getting some precipitation as we move into next weekend, into the early portion of the third week in November. Rainfall the last 7 days, greatest amounts are recorded across the eastern portion of the state. We had a couple of pockets up here around Blair. We had almost 4 inches of rain earlier this week. But again, really, really nice precipitation amounts of 1 inch to 2 inches are pretty common here across most of eastern Nebraska. But the areas where we really kind of need the rain the most, where we have extreme drought, including parts of northeastern Nebraska, and then getting out here in the Panhandle, we didn't really pick up a whole lot. Hopefully this next week, the storm will really help fill in some areas where we have not had much precipitation for the last 2 or 3 months. We did have some snowfall on Wednesday to talk about. Arthur County and then down toward the Kansas border, some places actually had upwards of 6 inches of snow on Wednesday. The drought monitor showed some improvement across portions of southeastern Nebraska and into portions of Washington and Burke counties. Status quo pretty much everywhere else. Again, we may see some bit more improvement across portions of eastern Nebraska if we do get some rainfall, but we've got a long ways to go before we see any significant improvement up here, just given how dry it's been recently. Soil moisture has improved a good bit across portions of southeastern Nebraska. Really, the entire region is, for the most part, is seeing some improvement. Still very dry here across the western Panhandle, though, where we just can't buy any decent moisture right now. Soil temperatures right now are mostly in the 40s to low 50s, and our temperature precipitation roundup for the last 7 days. Back to you, Bryce.